Hey everybody, Steve Spohn here with Spohn Performance, and we just wanted to give you a quick little video tour of our standard duty cross member mounted adjustable torque arms for the 1982 to 1992 GMF body, Camaro and Firebird. These are 100% bolt-in installation. You can see our rear bracket bolts to the factory rear just like the stock torque arm, and you are supplied with a transmission cross member that bolts into the factory cross member mounting locations on the subframe of the car. Front of the torque arm then bolts to the cross member. It is not transmission mounted. This allows this torque arm to be used with any transmission that we have an application for. Doesn't matter if it doesn't have the torque arm mount cast into the tail housing, because we're going to mount the torque arm onto the actual transmission cross member. Biggest advantage to this is performance wise. Your torque arm is now leveraging right off the subframe of the car. It's not pulling on the torque arm bushing and the transmission mount bushing, which gives you a lot of flex. So it's going to plant the rear a lot harder. It's going to give you much better handling. Go back to the rear of the arm. Our rear mount's made out of 3/8 inch laser cut steel. Rear of the torque arm connects to that mount with 3/4 by 5/8 solid rod ends. The ends of the tubes have 4130 chromoly threaded tube adapters welded in place. And we're using a 3/4 inch 4140 chromoly silver zinc plated left hand, right hand threaded male female double adjuster. That goes between the bottom torque arm tube and the rear bottom rod end. That's how you adjust your pinion angle. You simply unlock your two jam nuts, put your wrench on the adjuster, and by turning the adjuster it'll move your pinion up or down. So it makes for very easy on-car pinion angle adjustment. One thing I want to note is we do set these in a jig before we ship them. They should be right around -1 to -2 degrees if you mount this on your car right the way we ship it to you. We do supply an angle finder with all of our adjustable torque arms. That's included in the price. So you can use that to just confirm your pinion angle and adjust it if you want to. Some people don't want to mess with it. If you're at standard ride height, your torque arm should be perfect right the way we ship it to you. As you can see, the whole assembly has a durable and brilliant powder coated finish. We're showing you the bright red, and it's also available in gloss black. Mild steel torque arms are made out of 1¼ by 120 wall DOM tubing. And if you get the 4130 chromoly version, it's 1¼ by 095 wall 4130M tubing. We have 1/4 inch laser cut uprights, 4 of them that run the length of the arm. We'll move up to the front. As you can see, this transmission cross member has a dry shaft safety loop. This is an option. You can order the torque arm with no dry shaft loops. The front loop that I'm showing you here, which is what the NHRA requires. And we also have an option to get a rear dry shaft safety loop that would be welded onto the torque arm itself right in this area, which gives you a loop for the front and the rear of the drive shaft. Rear dry shaft safety loop will not work if your car is lowered. You'll have floor pan interference. Front dry shaft safety loop is not an option. Even if you're lowered, you'll be fine with the front dry shaft safety loop. As you can see, the safety loop is welded in place right to the cross member. Some people ask if it's an option they could add on later. You could, but there would be welding involved. We could send you this loop assembly. You'd have to butt it up to the cross member and weld it in place. So it's definitely best and easiest if you think you're going to need the loop to be track legal, to order it at the same time as your torque arm. A transmission cross member made out of CNC laser cut and formed steel, and as I stated earlier, it is made to bolt into the factory location. As you can see, we put rubber gaskets in place where the transmission cross member mounts to the frame of the car, and that's just to help reduce NVH. Keep things nice and quiet inside your car. This particular cross member I'm showing you is to put a 93 to 97 F-body T56 in a 3rd gen. For the purpose of this video tour, all of our torque arms are the same. The only difference is what transmission you have. It's a different cross member. Currently we have these kits available for the factory 700R4 or T5, Turbo 400, 204R, Turbo 350, the 93 to 97 F-body T56 swap, which we're showing you here, Power Glide, Tremec 5-speed, which will be your 3550 TKO, 500 or 600, the Tremec aftermarket T56, T10 or Muncie 4-speed, Richmond 6-speed, and if you're doing an LSX swap, we have a kit for the 98 to 02 F-body 4L60E and the 98 to 02 F-body T56. Both of those would be used with an LS1 or any LSX engine. The front of the torque arm connects to our cross member via our rotator assembly, which is what I'm showing you now. You got a grease fitting there so you can properly lubricate your entire rotator assembly. And what that allows is for the arm to be able to move fore and aft freely. As your rear moves up and down through its suspension travel, the arm will get longer and shorter. So if this was pinned to the cross member, you'd have big time suspension bind. Factory torque arm, it slides in and out front and back through a rubber bushing on the tail shaft. This is just a much heavier duty setup with the same concept. This rotator allows the arm to freely move fore and aft. In front of the torque arm we have several options. What I'm showing you here on this arm is the Del Sphere pivot joint. You can also get a polyurethane bushing or a chromoly spherical rod end. My suggestion would be, if it's a drag race only car, making decent amount of horsepower, go with a spherical rod end for maximum performance. And if it's a street strip or a street handling car, I would recommend this Del Sphere pivot joint. It's still free to articulate like a rod end, but it's nice and quiet and streetable. You won't get the noise like you get with a rod end. The poly bushing we offer, some people just prefer poly. It's definitely nice and quiet, but it can give you a little bind. It's not free to articulate like the rod end and the Del Sphere pivot joint. So I would recommend those two, but we do have the poly for those who want it. So that concludes our video tour of our cross member mounted standard duty adjustable torque arm for the 3rd gen F-body. Thanks for watching. I'm Steve Spohn, and I'll see you at the track.